Welcome back to the Voice of Metal, where we talk about all things metal and or possibly in the future when we get enough subscribers, the bandmates themselves. But right now we are going to take another look at um, lists from different countries of some of the best metal bands that they like and enjoy themselves. Um, right now I'm going to start off with Brazil in a little more detail and the types of genres they are a part of. So let's get started because this will be kind of cool. Oh, by the way, before I get started with that, please don't forget like, subscribe, so that way we get more people on the channel, and the more people we have on the channel, therefore it will help us accomplish the end goal, which is having interviews with actual rock stars to find out a little bit more about who they are as a person. Because, like I said before, and I'll say it again, that's what I'm hoping to get with that. That's the whole point of the Voice of Metal. It's the people of metal, the people in the industry, the people that are maybe in the backgrounds, maybe some of the people that are stage props, who knows, sound people, who knows who we will have later on down the road. So we'll see what happens. I figure what better way to do is get started with getting to know the bands themselves, right? With the list that they, and plus countries that actually like certain bands. It'd be kind of cool. So, number one is Sepultura from, of course, Brazil, where they're from. And I think a lot of these might be from there, but I'm not positive on that. So we'll see. Plus, there's a couple of them I'm not sure how to pronounce, so I might have to have some little bit of help from my phone to make sure I get it pronounced right. They are considered thrash metal, death metal, which I didn't think they were death metal, but I can kind of see in some of the actual lyrics. But I think they're even. I know like the Guardians of the Earth one, or the Quadras, reminds me a little bit of like maybe a Guardian metal, or I say Protectors of the Earth metal, I guess you could call it. At least that's my definition of it. Who knows? Maybe it'll become a thing, right? Because of the topic they sing about, or topics. And there's quite a few other bands that do political ones. Actually, it'd be kind of cool if there's a political style, or how you say, um, productive metal, maybe something that's kind of geared towards changing the world for a better place. I think that would be kind of cool. Something along those lines. I'm not sure what name to use for that, but that'd be kind of cool. Now, this is the one I wasn't certain if I could pronounce, so I'm going to read out loud.
Angra.
Angra. I want to make sure I said it right. I'm pretty sure that was what it was, but I want to make certain. Power metal and progressive metal, that was number two. And I have not heard of Angra, so I am not 100% certain what they sound like and things. So, it'd be kind of interesting to find out. I gotta need to put some of these. I didn't put the ones on the metal list last time, so I apologize. Our playlist. I think this one's called Kristen. Kristen. It's Krisiun is number three, and that's a death metal band. So that'd be kind of interesting. I think I might have heard of them before. Now this one I definitely would not. The next one is number four. I'm not sure if I know how to pronounce that, so I'll make sure I say that right.
Rados de Porau.
Rados de Cora, I think is how you pronounce it. Is what it sounded like. And that's a thrash metal band, which, I'm trying to remember exactly what I kind of went through the different genres pretty fast, and I don't remember exactly what the difference between thrash and new metal. And I know death metal a little bit because it's more about death and this, that, and the other. New metal is more modern type style. Thrash, it's kind of like my heavier speed. Well, it's not really speed metal. You know what? That's the one thing I don't remember seeing a subgenre called speed metal, but I've heard the term before. So when I was doing that the different types of subgenres and what they sound like, I didn't see that. So it's kind of interesting. I don't see in any of the lists of some of the bands I've talked about so far, which is kind of interesting, even though I've heard about it. Cortez is number five, thrash metal. Number six is Torture, is death metal, which I think I might have heard some of their songs before, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Cavalera Conspiracy is number 7, which is the guys who originally started Sepultura before, and then we had another singer later on that took over for them and the drummers. Which there are no original members in Sepultura anymore. It's a totally different band as far as the people in it, which is what I talked about of some of the top 10. No, some of the 10 metal bands that don't have any existing members at all, like Pantera. Um, and I'm trying to remember some of the other ones I talked about. But I don't remember exactly which ones were in that. But they are thrash and death metal, which kind of goes along with the Sepultura, which makes some sense, you know. Number 8 is Soulfly, is new metal and groove metal. Now there is, speaking of groove metal, I've had heard some of their songs before. Of course, it's with Max and Angra Cavalera. So he's kind of changed it up from death and thrash metal to new metal and groove metal. And I know there's quite a few bands I know that are new metal for sure. There is a Russian band, and I can't. It starts with a B. Borjak, I think, is how you say it, but I'm not certain on that. Um, that is, they consider themselves groove metal. I'm not sure what defines them as groove metal myself. I think I did talk about that in subgenres, but yeah, I couldn't. I have to memorize it all because it's one of those things. Anyway, moving on. Number 9 is Max Cavalera Thrash and Death Metal, which is pretty much the same as the Cavalera and Sepultura. It's rather interesting. They are the ones that they started and the ones they're in currently are like some of the top bands in Brazil. I wonder why. Maybe it's because they're from Brazil, possibly. Could be. Now, this is one I am not certain of. It's number 10. Make sure I say it right here.
Andre Matos.
Andre Matos. I thought that's what it said, but I want to make sure how it's pronounced. Is number 10. Power metal and progressive metal. I think progressive metal is a little kind of like a speed metal. Maybe that's what speed metal is progressive metal. Maybe that's the actual terminology. It'd be kind of interesting. Now, Nervosa, I've heard of, and it's number 11. And I definitely like some of their music, and there's really good stuff out there, is thrash metal, which is pretty awesome. I've always liked some thrash metal here and there. I don't know exactly what makes thrash metal, but there's quite a few bands that, if I look them up, I go, oh, okay, that's a thrash metal. That's probably why I like them, because the bands I gravitate towards are new metal, thrash metal, some death metal. I'm not sure about white metal. That's a little more Christian kind of thing. Because I for a while, the longest time I thought Lamb of God was a Christian metal band, and that's why I never listened to them. I thought, well, but I thought I heard little clips of their songs. I thought, okay, maybe they're not quite so that before. Then I found out from somebody that no, they're not. They're far from it. Like Burn the Priest is the original name, and actually somebody said on Liquid Metal that was their original name for Lamb of God, but somebody said that's a side project, which I'd have to look that up because I'm not certain myself. So I'm not sure if he's still doing that now. I guess that there's new albums coming out within the last probably 10 years. I think Lamb of God's been around 10 years or longer. I'm not certain exactly, but if they kind of coincide with that, then that probably consider a side project, not a project that was before and they changed the name. So who knows? Which is kind of, sorry, I'm getting off the beaten path here, but it's one of those things, just kind of some info for those of you who don't know that, which I didn't know that either. Number 12 is, let me make sure I say it right. Alma. So Alma is a power metal and heavy metal, which I've never heard before. So that's another one. There's a lot of them on here I cannot pronounce because I think they're Brazilian names, possibly. So it's a little hard to make sure I say it right. It looks what I think is right, but I'm going to make sure. Hybria is number 13. It's power metal and progressive metal. See, here's another one. Golly, there's a bunch of them on here. Now, this is definitely a different one. It's a folk metal. Number 14 is, I'm going to have to hear what a folk metal song sounds like and see.
Tuatha De Danann.
Tuatha De Danann, I think is how you pronounce that. I think I heard that correctly. Here's another one. God, I know the other ones, quite a few of them, but this one I don't know either. It's one of those. God,
Kiko Loureiro.
Kiko Loureiro. Okay, I think that's what I thought it was going to be pronounced as, but I want to make sure I got it right. It was number 15 with power metal and progressive metal. Kind of interesting. But folk metal was, number 14. I'm definitely have to check out some folk metal bands because I'm kind of curious. I wonder if it's like the Viking metal type stuff. Is that what folk metal is? Because I've had some, I forgot the name of the group. There's a couple of different bands that do Viking style metal where it sounds like Nordic sounds and things like that and instruments. But then they play a little. Some of them play guitar. Some of them are more purists, I think. But they kind of have that heavier tones. So they consider themselves more metal than Nordic kind of style music. I'm assuming, and probably the way they sing it, it's more deeper, richer, which I consider more of a metalish sound. So that could be where that's coming from. I'm not sure if folk metal is encompassed in that or not. That could be one of those kind of bands, and that could be one I've heard. I don't know. So number 16 is Cryptica, which is death metal, which I thought I was right about that, and I have heard them before, and they are really good. So you never checked them out. Check them out. I don't know all their songs as much as the next one here. Number 17 is Nailbomb. It's grindcore. And they definitely sound really cool. All I gotta say is grindcore is like that, and there's a lot of other groups that are out there like that are grindcore. I have to find out more because Nailbomb's got some really good sound. It's really political type, motivated type style music. It's got a message in it, a lot of them, because they have like the cover of the Nailbomb. One of the Nailbomb's albums is like a gun stuck to a woman's head. It's Oriental, and it's kind of crazy. Kind of graphic, kind of very violent type things. But it's for a purpose. It's for a reason. They try and get the message across to you. Number 18 is Shaman, power metal, and progressive metal, which actually I think I might have heard one of their songs. So I think I've seen the name pop up, but I'm not 100% certain on that. 19 Violator, I might have heard this one, but I don't know, is thrash metal, which that'd be interesting. Now this is another one I cannot pronounce. Worth a darn. So I'm out to this number 20.
Sarcophago.
Yeah, it's definitely Brazilian sounding to me. That's a black metal band, which actually I think, no, that's not the one. That's one. I forgot their band name. Oh my god. It was one that's actually from a gentleman that actually is from Brazil. And there's a UK version of their band. And that's what I'm kind of wondering if they have a band that they know that's a death metal band. And I had a lot of people that seemed very interested in that because I got a lot of views for that. It's just a little short clip of some of their death metal music, and it sounded pretty good. I can't remember the name of their band, so it'd be interesting to see. Aquaria is number 21 at power metal. Now, I think I know how to pronounce this one, but just in case. Matanza Incorporated is what it's called. That's a thrash metal band. Number 22. Number 23 is Overdose, a thrash metal. Claustrophobia is number 24. Death metal.